let's add switches to our basic circuit. To review, we have our LED here and our 330 ohm resistor. And now I'd like you to find the two switches that you have. Actually, you have a bag of switches. One is a push button switch, and it looks like this. And the underside of this switch is going to be important to take a look at. And then the other switch is a sliding switch here. We'll use this in just a moment, but let's use the push button switch. In setting up the push button switch, you're going to need to use it to jump or bridge this gap right here. And the switch will only do that in one orientation. And when I push the switch in, I'm going to make sure that it is in the one side of it is in the same row as my LED, one of my leads of my LED, which in my case is row number 1. So underneath here, I'm going to make sure that I push this in. It's going to bridge this divide, and this is a little tricky. I'm going to push it down, and now one side of this is in row number 1. Now let's see what happens when I connect my battery lead over here to one side of this circuit, and this is one side of the resistor here. And now watch this. I might have to turn my light off here. If I connect it to row 1, the switch is just in the on position. However, if I move down to the other lead over here, I'm going to push that in, and now I push the button. That's how this particular switch is set up. Again, if I just push here, you'll see that the LED comes on. It completes the circuit without pushing the button. I'm going to go over here and push this in. On the for me, it's going to be row 3, which is one of the leads of this button, this switch rather. And if I push that, the light goes on and off. Now, so I'd like you to experiment with that. Now I'm going to remove the battery, the power, and I'm going to remove this switch. Now let's go over to the sliding switch. It's going to require us to move, or me to remove these components, and I'm going to start by putting the switch in so that it is in row number 1, the top of it, one end of it rather, and in rows or columns I and J. If I orient it like this, these are the columns. And I'm going to push this in. And by the way, this has got 6 leads on it. And we'll discover why that is the case later, but for right now, let's just get our switch oriented. Now, I'm going to connect my LED, the positive side of my LED, the longer side, to row number 3 here. Whoops. Okay. And now I'm going to connect my resistor. The short lead of my LED is in row 7 here. And again, I'm referring to it as rows because I've oriented my breadboard like this just for the ease of the camera. Now I'm going to connect my LED, or my resistor, my 330 ohm resistor. Now it's time to connect the power, and again we've got to complete this circuit. And you're going to notice that if I connect in certain places here and the switch looks like it's on, I'm going to turn it off. So I'd like you to experiment with where you can turn this switch on and off. And sometimes the switch will want to pop out like it just did for me. Okay, so this is the off position. Oop, and it's just popped out again. And then on position.